I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics, I love them. And welcome back to another episode of Cameron Reads Comics. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Batman and Robin by Joshua Williamson and Simone. Let's get into it. So this run collects Batman through Robin, issues number 1 through 13, and then the Batman and Robin 2024 annual. For some context into this run, I think when it comes to accessibility, you can mostly just pick up this run and hop on if you have a general idea of the Bruce Wayne and like Damian Wayne dynamic. If you want a little bit more context into who Damian is, I'd highly recommend my Batman by Grant Morrison Omnibus Volume 1 review. Also, for runs like this, it's not the first time Joshua Williamson has written these characters. He did a quick little stint on Batman, and then he also did a longer stint on Robin by Damian Wayne Robin run that I loved. I also reviewed that. You can check it out here. I always just recommend reading the writer's earlier work with these same characters, because if they're going to be quoting if they're going to be referring to any previous events, they're going to be referring to the ones that they wrote about. So I highly recommend Robin by Joshua Williamson, Batman by Joshua Williamson, and if you like what he did with Bane here, I highly recommend Williamson's Bane One Bad Day one-shot. It was pretty good. Okay, for the story. Tonally, I thought this was like an action-adventure story, but the core of it was family, which is really good because a lot of people fall into this trap of writing Batman and Damian that they just will never get along, that Damian is a weapon and Batman needs to qualm the weapon. Williamson doesn't take that take. He makes it a father and son crime-fighting together story, which I really liked. It's an important shift because it comes from a place of Bruce trusting Damian, which is not our standard. Like, we've had a whole Peter J. Tomasi Batman and Robin run of Damian not being trusted or earning the trust of Batman. We had an event recently, Batman versus Robin. We don't need that drama in our lives. We didn't need all of that. Okay, this comes from Damian. You've earned my trust. You have it. What's up? You're my son now. Williamson also, I think, just really understands Damian as a character. With that understanding, he kind of made it like, again, it's family, so it's a feel-good story and just like the casual adventures that they're going on. I'd say it's a very fun Batman comic as opposed to dark, brooding, menacing. It's just, they stay in Gotham, they're fighting Man-Bat, they're doing a bunch of stuff over there, which I thought was really fun, really, very clever. And so, like, here's some of the examples of the adventures they go on. Damian actually just starts going to high school. Batman's like, you are a teenager, you're going to high school, dog. Which is fun. It's a fun dynamic. And then Bruce, like, tries to be an active parent in Damian's life. He even volunteers at, like, a pancake breakfast at the school, which is just fun. And then the whole annual issue is about Bruce taking Damian on a road trip or like a camping trip. It was really cool. I wanted that. And it's just nice and fun. And like, those character dynamics can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you if you're confident enough just to write a story like that. So for some of the characters we have in this arc, we have Man-Bat that they fight. But this one is kind of a cool take. They give Man-Bat Kirk Langstrom's mind, so he's not just a monster, but he's kind of brilliant. Think Smart Hulk. There's a new villain called Shush, who is someone from Damian's past. Who could it be? With a relation to Tommy Elliott? I don't know. And then there's Bane, and Bane is where they kind of wrap up the run, and they go to Dinosaur Island. This also has the first appearance of Bane's daughter, Vengeance, which I kind of like really like that character and that character name. That was pretty cool. But an important thing that I appreciate Josh Williamson doesn't overlook is the dynamic between Damian and Bane from Tom King's Batman run. You don't really need to know too much about Tom King's Batman run to read this, but there was a moment when Alfred in the continuity is currently dead. Bane killed Alfred, and Damian feels as though it was his fault. So the Damian-Bane dynamic is not a friendly one. And so that's the kind of line where they walk where Batman's like, I don't know if I can trust you when you're around this guy, in the very same way that I don't think Batman could trust himself if he was to be around Joe Chill, right? Or someone else couldn't trust Batman if he's around Joe Chill. And there's also the return of Flatline, who is a Josh Williamson character introduced in his Robin run, who is Damian's little love interest. I really like Flatline, so it's cool. Okay, so for the art, the main run and all the covers are by Simone DeMeo. Simone DeMeo is a fine artist, and the page layouts in this book are insane. The first issue is just so bonkers, with your eyes just going at every single angle of the page. It's pretty crazy. It's not your standard comic grid either. Your eyes are bouncing around. The colors are so interesting, a very interesting color palette that they use. He colors and inks his own work, which I thought was really interesting. And I'd say there's very much a manga influence in his style. He dramatized elements in very, very interesting ways. Now, for the rating, I love Joshua Williamson's writing, but this series ended incredibly abruptly because currently he was writing too many titles. So Josh Williamson currently, at the time this series ended, is writing G.I. Joe and Duke and all the G.I. Joe titles for the Energon universe over at Image. He was writing Green Arrow and Superman and Superman events. He's all over the place. So he was doing all this stuff while simultaneously helming DC, and he just got overwhelmed. And so he had to cut out a few titles from his runs. So it kind of just ended abruptly when I think he was planting a lot of seeds that we didn't get to see all the fruit from. So for my rating, I give this a 7.1 out of 10. It was a good, fun, bread and butter comic, but it ended so swiftly that it caught me a little bit off guard. What did you think? Do you think Batman and Robin deserve a title? Is this a good one that you wanted to read? Let me know in the comments. My name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. See you next time.